What is the central theme of the poem? The poem's central theme is the longing for peace and harmony found in nature. Yeats expresses a desire to escape urban life and live in the calm, self-sufficient environment of Innisfree. The poem highlights nature's power to heal, comfort, and restore the human spirit. Why does the poet want to go to Innisfree? The poet wants to go to Innisfree because it offers natural beauty, solitude, and peace. He feels tired of noisy city life and seeks comfort in nature. Innisfree represents an ideal refuge where he can live simply and connect deeply with natural surroundings. How does Yeats describe the cabin he will build? Yeats describes a small cabin made of clay and wattles. It will be simple yet peaceful, symbolizing a life of minimal needs. The cabin represents self-sufficiency and a return to nature, where the poet can live quietly and freely without worldly distractions. What does the poet say about the Be-Loud Glade? The Be-Loud Glade refers to a clearing filled with the buzzing of bees. This imagery creates a soothing, musical atmosphere. It shows Yeats's deep appreciation of natural sounds and emphasizes how peaceful and alive the environment of Innisfree will be for him. Why is peace described as dropping slow? The phrase, "peace comes dropping slow," suggests that true tranquility is gentle and gradual. It slowly fills the poet's heart through nature's quiet beauty, like morning dew forming or evening mist settling. The poet feels this slow, healing peace in Innisfree's serene surroundings. How does the poet use imagery in describing nature? Yeats uses vivid imagery, such as morning with veils of the mist, shining noon, purple glow of evening, and the starlit night, to make the reader feel nature's beauty. These sensory images create a dreamlike world where harmony and peace exist naturally. What contrasts does the poem show between city life and nature? The poem contrasts the noisy, crowded city with the quiet, solitary island of Innisfree. The city represents stress and artificial life, while nature symbolizes peace and purity. The poet dreams of escaping the mechanical world to find calmness in nature's lap. Why does the poet repeat, "I will arise and go now"? The repetition reflects a strong inner desire and determination to leave the city immediately. It shows the poet's longing for nature and his emotional need for peace. The line also suggests a spiritual awakening or calling toward a simpler, more fulfilling life. What does the lake water lapping symbolize? The sound of lake water lapping symbolizes calmness, continuity, and emotional healing. Even in the busy city, the poet imagines this soothing sound in his deep heart's core. It represents the ever-present connection he feels with nature and his dream of Innisfree. How does nature influence the poet emotionally? Nature deeply calms and comforts the poet. The soft sounds, gentle movements, and visual beauty of Innisfree create emotional peace and spiritual satisfaction. Nature becomes a refuge that helps the poet escape stress, noise, and the burdens of modern life. Why does the poet talk about living alone? Living alone symbolizes complete peace and self-discovery. Yeats wants solitude to connect with himself and nature. Innisfree offers him a place where he can reflect, find inner balance, and experience life untouched by the chaos of society. What role does sound play in the poem? Natural sounds like bees humming and water lapping create a musical atmosphere. These sounds contrast with city noise and represent peace. They also connect emotionally with the poet, reminding him of nature's presence even when he is physically away from Innisfree. What does the phrase, "midnight's all a glimmer," mean? The phrase refers to the soft, shimmering light at midnight. It creates a magical image of nighttime in Innisfree. Yeats uses this to show how nature's beauty is constant, even at night, offering serenity and a sense of timelessness. Why does the poet imagine fresh mornings at Innisfree? Fresh mornings with mist symbolize new beginnings and purity. The poet longs for such mornings to escape pollution and routine. The image shows the calm and refreshing life he desires, far from the tiring atmosphere of the city. What message does the poem convey? The poem conveys the message that nature provides unmatched peace, healing, and spiritual fulfillment. It encourages reconnecting with natural surroundings to find balance in life. Yeats suggests that inner peace comes from simplicity and harmony with nature. How does Yeats express his dissatisfaction with city life? Yeats subtly shows his dissatisfaction through contrast. He mentions roadway and pavements grey, symbolizing monotony and lifelessness. The poet escapes into dreams of Innisfree, showing that city life fails to satisfy his emotional and spiritual needs. Why is Innisfree important to the poet? Innisfree represents the poet's childhood memories, inner peace, and a spiritual home. It symbolizes freedom, natural beauty, and emotional comfort. It is not just a physical place but a mental refuge that gives the poet deep happiness. How does the poet plan to sustain himself in Innisfree? The poet plans a self-sufficient life, building a small cabin, planting beans, and keeping bees. This symbolizes simplicity and independence. By relying on nature, he hopes to live peacefully without the demands or pressures of city life. What emotion dominates the poem? Longing is the dominant emotion. The poet yearns intensely for Innisfree's peaceful life. This desire is so strong that he hears the lake's sounds even while standing in the noisy city. The poem beautifully expresses a deep emotional craving for nature. What is the tone of the poem? The tone is dreamy, nostalgic, peaceful, and hopeful. The poet speaks with longing and certainty about finding solace in nature. His gentle, musical language reflects inner desire and emotional escape from the stressful modern world. What poetic devices are used in the poem? Yeats uses imagery, alliteration, repetition, personification, rhythm, and symbolism. These devices create a musical quality and help express longing and peace. Nature is vividly portrayed, making Innisfree feel like a living, comforting force. Why does the poet feel a spiritual connection with Innisfree? Innisfree is associated with purity, childhood memories, and inner harmony. The poet feels emotionally tied to it because nature nurtures his soul. The place symbolizes a spiritual retreat where he can find meaning, peace, and emotional renewal. What does the poem say about human nature? The poem suggests that humans naturally seek peace, simplicity, and connection with nature. Modern life may separate people from natural beauty, but deep within, everyone desires calmness and balance, just as the poet does with Innisfree. How does the poem create a sense of escape? The poem creates escape through vivid images of quiet mornings, buzzing bees, and peaceful lakes. These contrast with the dull city environment. The poet closes his eyes and imagines Innisfree, mentally transporting himself to a world of freedom and calm. What makes this poem timeless? Its universal themes, longing for peace, escape from stress, and love for nature, make it timeless. Readers across ages relate to the poet's desire for tranquility. The poem's musical language and emotional depth continue to inspire people seeking inner calm.